tonight. The team stuck with it despite the slow start. What did you think of the team's effort tonight to get back in this one?
Yeah, I think that we knew we'd be tested at some point in this, obviously early in the season. I don't know if we expected it that early. Yeah, things just weren't going well early in the game. You know, we couldn't make a shot. We felt like we got good looks. They hit a couple tough ones, and it just kind of snowballs. But we hung in there. You know, that third quarter again, 36-21. And that's what we're about. So bounce back, stay in it, stay together. Then when it's going well, like we had it going, that spirit that just uplifts us from the bench, from the crowd, you could feel it there in that third quarter, especially early. Got a couple extra possessions that led to some threes. Yeah, that was fun.
Coach, first, congrats on your first win as a head coach. And then secondly, looking at that third quarter, what's standing out to you the most about how you guys flipped it in that in the third quarter? I'm sorry.
Just their belief, you know, that their belief in one another to get back out of halftime, get back at it. You know, I think there's all this emotion and energy that goes into game one. We felt it. And sometimes on some of those nights, it's good to start on the road just so you don't have all of it. But then we were able to find it, and then it's good to be at home to uplift us and get us through that third and fourth quarter. So I just think collectively we were able to kind of figure out a little bit. We made a slight adjustment, but overall it was just our guys compete level.
Only thing I had to follow up with was looking at Mark. Was the plan all along to have him come off the bench, and did you reach your minute total with him?
Yeah, we said we'd have a target number. It's, you know, a good part about that is he had minutes at the end of the game where we were headed. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how he responds out of this. This is a long-term plan for him, his career. But yeah, we're right at it, real close there. So, good start. See how he responds out of it, and we head into it back-to-back.
What was the plan for him to come off the bench?
I mean, when you say a target number, we wanted to make sure we had enough target minutes into the fourth quarter. So.
Hey, Jordan. You mentioned the second half made an adjustment. It felt like there was more switching. You held them to 45 points on 36% from the field. Can you speak to just kind of how they responded to the adjustment that you did make and what kind of went into that decision that was made?
I knew you would pick up on it. That's what we did. We tried to take out. They figured out a rhythm to our pick and rolls. We thought early. Schroeder, the kickouts. Levine hit the pull up there at the end of the second quarter. We just felt like they got into a rhythm. We decided to make an adjustment. Easy for Oso. You know, Oso can do it. We knew he could do it, but we still don't want them to find a rhythm. So we still want to switch and play with the physicality and aggressiveness. And then when you have Mark, 7 feet tall, come out, we stuck with it. And his ability he showed us that he can guard those tough guard. Those guys are as tough to guard as anyone in the league collectively across. You got Malik and Schroeder, and of course Levine and DeRozan. So that's what we did. We ended up switching, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as much about the coverage as our compete level.
Jordan, how gratifying was it in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter? Like Booker wasn't even on the floor, and I know he did his thing, but it was like Colin Gillespie, Royce O'Neal. It was kind of a ragtag group out there, but they were the ones that made that push. What'd you think of that group?
Yeah, there's nothing ragtag about that group. That group gets after it. That's what we're about. Our starting unit started to get us back into that third quarter, and that group, that's what they do. They play hard, they scrap. Royce obviously made shots that helps get us extra possessions. That group we stuck with. We stuck with into the fourth quarter, and we're going to stick with them as long as we were on that run. That's what there's 82 of these. And tonight it was that group. You know, on Friday it could be someone else. We're going to need everyone. And it's a great reminder to all of us. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know how it's going to go. Ebbs and flows of these games. That's why we're in the business. That's why we love it.
Hey, Coach, congrats on your first win. You seem pretty low-key celebrating walking off the floor, but what was it like inside the locker room moments ago when the team gave you the game ball and the water shower?
Yeah, someone prepped you. I anticipated some water, but I anticipated on the front end. They got me on the back end. And, like, you can get, like, room temperature water. That was not room temperature water. So, Yeah, but it's not about me. I mean, you know, they're out there playing. We're just a part of it. We're along for the ride. Any way we can help them, that's what we're going to be out there doing. Very grateful, again, for the opportunity, the staff I'm with, and the players. I mean, it's always about the players. So, yeah, it's just opening night. Thankful for the win.
Coach, how did you feel about the offensive execution in the half court in the first half, and maybe what changed in the second half that allowed you guys to get rolling there?
Beauty of analytics. We got good looks in the first half. Just figured it would change. We actually won the possession game more in the first half. We were plus 13 in the possession game in the first half. So just got to stick with it. It's process-based. There's a little feel involved in it, so that's why we made the adjustment. There's a little feel involved, but if we're going to say process yesterday, say it today. So we stuck with it. Felt like we got some good looks. We'll have to go back and look. Obviously, we can add things, make adjustments, but it was good to see another team with another defense. That's a different defense than what we've seen in the other two opponents that we've seen. So we'll make the adjustments and get better.
To your point, 28 second chance points just through 3 quarters. Is that an easy number for you to point to in the future and show the importance of this?
Yeah, I think so, but the goal is to have 0. You make every shot. That's the goal, you know, but if you happen not to make it, then the process of how we're getting those extra possessions matters. So ideally we have 0 and we can make every shot, but we know in some nights we just have to find another way, and I've been talking about it. Some nights it's going to be defense, some nights it's going to be our bench unit, some nights it's going to be our three-point shooting, some nights it's going to be how we force turnovers. Some nights it's both. Like in the first half we couldn't get anything to fall, so whatever it takes to win.
Hey, Coach. I mean, this is the first 20-plus point comeback of the season. I mean, this team only had 2 last year. Obviously, you weren't here for that, but I'm just curious how impressed you were with this team's sort of resiliency when they were down 20, and it could have been easy to just sort of throw in or wave the white flag.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that with this group. So, not surprised, proud, happy that I'm here, part of this group. Not surprised. I think that's what we're going to be about. That's Suns basketball. That's what our leaders are about. They have been like that for their whole lives. Not surprised, and hopefully, you know, we're not down 20 very often. But if we are, we'll just chip away. That's what we did.
Hey, Jordan, a lot of people mostly focus on defense when it comes to Dillon. Obviously, that's just what he mostly brings for the group, but just the offensive output, what could you say about that whenever you're down Jalen and his production to be able to step up to the plate?
He puts in the work. I've said it multiple times. I've never been around a guy that works harder. Again, he was in the gym before shoot-around today. I think multiple times he's been here at the arena when no one else is. Not on a game night. Not surprised. And that's who he is. He struggles early. He's like, I got to get the ball up. He figures out himself. That's what really good professional basketball players do. And we're going to ride with him when he's missing because we can't hop on when he's only making. So we're everything he's about is what we want to be about. It's not a surprise because of the work he's put in.
Coach, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Coach. My bad. He was just here, Devin. Apologies. I was going to ask you about Coach getting his first win as an NBA head coach. Just your thoughts on and how the team celebrated that.
Yeah, we gave him a water bath in there. They put together a nice little video of his family and friends congratulating him. So it's big time. You know, it's a welcome to the Valley moment, getting the first one, you know, under his belt, and, you know, we're all rallying behind him.
You had a situation where you're watching the comeback in that third quarter. What was that like, seeing guys like Colin get you guys back in it, and then for you and Dillon to basically close it out in the fourth?
Yeah, it brought the arena back to life. You know, it brought our bench back to life, and, you know, I think it was super special for us to, you know, deal with that in the first game, seeing what you can do and being down 20 points and, you know, flipping it and going on a run and doing it together.
Book, a lot of times a team that has to, over here, a lot of time when teams come back from 20-point deficits, it's a veteran team that's used to playing with each other. You guys are not that. What do you think was the key of you guys just kind of finding your resolve to get back in the game?
We made a couple adjustments at halftime. We started switching a lot and, you know, just trying to just pick up the intensity, pick up the effort, You know, we felt like they were too comfortable in the first half, getting everything that they wanted. So, you know, we understand they're going to make tough shots. They have talented players, but, you know, just making them a little bit more uncomfortable. And I think we did a pretty good job of that.
Book, you've seen Dillon do that before, but from the other side, what was it like having it on your side and having him ignite the crowd like that?
I mean, that's part of his MO, and we need that. You know, it's definitely something that we didn't have a lot of last year. Just getting everybody riled up, getting everybody in tune to the game, and you know, you can't teach that stuff, and you know, you can't value it because you know it's super important.
And some might see the first quarter that he had and think he got a little bit too trigger happy, but you want that confident guy on your team every time, right?
Hell yeah, everyone has to be a threat out there, and you know he's going to do that. And at all moments, we've gave him the green light to do that. It's going to take pressure off everybody and make life easier for everybody.
Book, what did you learn about the new pieces on the team? Anybody's play surprised you at all?
I mean, we've had a good camp. You know, so I pretty much know these guys, and I have a lot of respect for them. I'll definitely watch the game back tonight and, you know, have a better understanding. I kind of black out while I'm out there, but it's a good team win overall.
Devin, we feel like we saw a lot of grace in initiating points of attack for y'all offensively, where you use as a screener. Just kind of, what's that relationship with the guards, the other guards with you when you're screening for them, and how you're kind of able to manipulate action from it?
I mean, it's an action, you know, I think a lot of the NBA is using now, you know, because sometimes it just causes confusion to the defense. Sometimes you set it, sometimes you slip out of it. You know, you're just doing it to cause some type of, you know, disruption and, you know, open a lane for him, or two might go to him and leave me open and play not a closeout. So, you know, I think you see OKC do it a lot. We did it a little bit last year, but, you know, a lot of people are using it now.
Hey, Devin, you had a solid amount of pick and roll possessions with Mark in his 24 minutes. Just what intrigues you about that chemistry that you're going to be able to develop with him as the season progresses?
Yeah, I think I missed him on 2 or 3 lobs, you know, that, you know, some of the coaches told me, and, you know, definitely something I'll go look back and get used to because, you know, he'll go up and get it. You know, so I typically always reading the backside of the defense and pass 2 or 3, but having a rim threat like that and somebody that can catch it, you know, I have to, you know, reward him for that.
In the first half, very unlike you to be the guy like getting caught in the air for turnovers. What were you seeing that maybe wasn't there, and what changed for you in the second half?
It was just nasty overall, you know, kind of throughout. I made a few shots in the third, but, you know, I think 6 or 7 turnovers and 5 missed free throws. You know, it hurt a lot worse in a loss. So, you know, I'm happy we scrapped that out and figured a way.
Do you take solace in being that kind of guy where, like, you feel you described your play as nasty and yet you look at your production and it was there, or is it more about the quality you felt overall?
It was quality, just careless with the ball, just losing it, just unlike me. Just got to lock in.
Dillon, was this what you imagined when you came here with the crowd in front? Was this what you imagined, the crowd reacting to your play and you guys play, and I'm sure you didn't want to be down 20, but then to be part of a comeback?
Yeah, I shot it bad to begin with, but you know the fans stuck with it. I know Phoenix brings out the crowd every single night. We appreciate our fans sticking with us. It's how we play. If we started off better, you know, it could have been a whole different game. But, you know, we fought, we clawed, we stood together. Our bench group brought us in. Grayson played well, CG, and Royce. Mark, you know, coming back from injury was key. And, you know, that's how we play. We figure it out, and we play tough, we play physical, and, you know, we listen to each other on that floor.
Another thing I had was obviously you engage with guys. It's just what you do, and DeRozan, I think it felt like a wear down effect with you the whole night. Maybe just take me through that one-on-one.
Yeah,
challenge.
It was definitely a wear down effect on, you know, DeMar. He's a great player. Finds a way to get to that free throw line. We wore down on Zach too. We couldn't find him in the fourth quarter, which was great. Especially, you know, when we found that lead and they needed threes, and that's what they go to. And we just, you know, we just attack their defense, and we knew that their defense wasn't that strong. They don't got inside protection, and that first half we were turning over the basketball. We were missing shots, but that's our resilience, and we're on to the next.
In the second half, it felt like the urgency level was like at a different peak than compared to the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like y'all only gave up maybe 2 3-pointers made in the second half as well. What kind of went into just what you saw from that urgency uptaking?
Our physicality was a lot better. Our bigs were coming over more on that. We were forcing them to drive our closeouts into our bigs for shot blocking. And then we were pushing the break. Once they started missing, we were able to get in transition, find each other, open transition trays, and able to find our closer to close it out.
Dillon, what do you think? This was Coach Ott's first win as a head coach. What do you think that meant for him, and what was the scene in the locker room like?
It was, like you always see. They had a little video for him, his family, congratulating him, while looking at his journey, through the NBA, being an assistant, being a video guy, grinding it out to get to where he is today. And, he's special. He's in that, office at the practice facility every single day till 8, 9 p.m. And I know that because I'm in there too. And, over the summer, he's there rebounding, as a head coach. He's passing the ball. He's into the workouts. You don't see that type of, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank. Consistency, the engagement, as a coach. And he's an offensive wizard. He figures stuff out. And, we really wanted to get this win. Especially in this fashion. It feels great. And, we put water all over him and, showered him.
Dillon, congratulations on your first win with the team. Coach mentioned you have an amazing work ethic. He said you were one of the first guys to be here in the arena. Can you please tell us about your level of preparation prior to this game and your level of excitement?
Yeah, I might have been too excited. I was, missing some easy shots that I make. But this is the first season that, I never had really no nerves. I feel like I was prepared. I knew where my spots were. I knew if I was going to, miss or make, to stick with it. And, the past 2 summers, I've been putting in a lot of work, trusting it. Shout out to my trainer, David Tyndall. Both of us, been working resiliently every single day. I even got up at like 6:30, couldn't sleep, and came to the gym and got some shots up. But just trusting the work every single day and, keep recovering, take care of my body for these games.
Dillon, you could call that a first impression for you with the fans, but they seem to be familiar with you, right? Did you get that sense that they knew where you would impact the game?
Yeah, on a defensive end, making, plays and honestly just, revving up my teammates to, be confident and make plays for each other and, ultimately, get stops.
Is that wear down effect, you think, something you guys can rely on over the course of the season, knowing if you play that hard in the fourth quarter, teams will fold?
Oh, yeah. I know that from every team I play on, and is that if you're able to play hard every single night, there's teams that are not willing to do that. And, especially, in the first game, the good test, we're able to, show to ourselves that we can do it at any given night. And, we're confident we're going to keep moving forward.
Dillon, throughout training camp, it felt like the main theme around training camp was just the intensity of the practices. How did you see that intensity translate from practices where you guys are scrimmaging to a live game scenario like tonight?
I almost felt the same, just with a whole bunch of fans in it. I think we were, kind of getting tired of going against each other. Especially me, I caught a little elbow in one of the practices, but we, play hard. We push each other. We have energy every single day, and it's endless energy. When you got a bunch of young guys, mixed with a couple, vets, that gives you life, it gives you youth. And we get right back at it, tomorrow. Appreciate it.